Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I am going to cover 7 things to consider for you if you are just starting out as a freelancer, side hustle, whatever it might be. These are things that are going to help you get business set up official, make sure that you're running at the speed you're at, and if you need to speed up, I'll show you a few tips and tricks there as well. So starting a business is really confusing, or starting a side hustle can be confusing on what you need to do when it comes to taxes, the legal requirements, and accounting, bookkeeping, all of that stuff. I'm going to simplify it for you right now, get you started on the right step. You figure out where you're at exactly, but a lot of these things will help you grow. I am so happy that right when I started, I got a bookkeeper. Right when I started, I opened a separate business credit card and a separate debit account. We're going to cover all of that right now, but these things are really going to help you get set up right, just so you can really track your life and learn about expenses and all of that. So that way you really shine and you know where your money's coming in from and how much is going out. All right, so number 1, let's talk about money. The first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to get a business debit card and a business credit card. Now, you can do this under your name. I'm going to talk more about that in a moment, but you could do this under your name. The reason you want to do this is so important. You want to separate all business transactions on those cards. Now, as a sole proprietor or someone who's just starting out, when you're working under your name, it's totally and completely legal to go to the bank and say, I'd like to open a business account. They'll say, what's the business name? You do it under your name. Now, if you start an LLC or whatever, you'll do it under that. But if you're just starting out, this is how I started out. I did everything under my name. And what you want to keep in mind is any money that comes in goes into the debit card. Any money that goes out goes through the business credit card. That way you keep expenses separate and income separate, so that when you go to the store with your friends or you go to the dinner with your friends and you're just having a meal and you pay for that, it doesn't cross mix with all your other stuff. It gets really confusing for accounting, gets really confusing for management, and gets really confusing if you need to really go into detail about every single transaction over the last 12 months. And a pro tip here, really learn what you could expense. Like, this is actually just such a fun game. Obviously, you don't want to sit there and just think about this all the time. Learn how to make more money. That's really the goal. But learn what you could expense, because there are some things that are going to run in your life that are business expenses that you want to make sure you're writing off. Because if you don't, you're going to get taxed 30% for every dollar that comes in. So just for example, if you don't understand this, I'll break it down in simple terms. If you have $1 come in and it's business revenue, well, the government's going to ask for just about 30% of that dollar. But let's say, for example, it cost you 50 cents to get that dollar. Well, you expense that 50 cents, so they're only going to tax you on the remaining 50 cents. So you had $1 come in, it cost you 50 cents to get it, so technically you only really made 50 cents gross, and then from there they're going to tax you 30% on that. It's really important to know what you can expense and what is a write-off, and that way you can manage all of your business in a clear way and you're not overpaying for taxes. Number 2, I mentioned this briefly, but you can do business under your name. This is not something you want to do long term. This is not somewhere you want to stay. But if you're just starting out and you really don't know what's going to happen, or you just are going to take on 1 to 2 clients on the side or 1 to 2 projects here and there, and you don't have a ton of money coming in, it's great to start under your name as a sole proprietor. So what you can do is you could get an EIN number, and you could basically go through the process of doing everything under your name. Go to Google, type in how do I get an EIN number, get an EIN number for your name, and then you could do business under that. The reason the EIN number is important is because if you don't have that, you give out your social security every time you do some type of transaction. So if someone is going to 1099 you, or you're doing a service as a contractor, they're going to say, hey, I need a W-9. I'm saying a lot of stuff really fast, but if you understand me, great. If you don't, come back to the video. These are small tips for different types of businesses. They're going to ask for a W-9. If they ask for a W-9, the W-9 is going to ask for 1 of 2 things, social security or an EIN number. It gives you a great way to put out your EIN number without putting out your social security. It's a cleaner, safer way to put out your information as a sole proprietor. and still be completely legal, in bounds, all of that. And one big side note, actually, I did not say this earlier, but I'm gonna say it right now. None of this is legal advice. None of this is financial advice. I have no idea what kind of disclaimers I have to say, but none of this is advice that you should take, okay? These are just ideas that are floating in the air, all right? So none of this is legal advice. Seek legal counsel for full professional advice for what you need. Okay, number 3, this is the one I am really good at, I could speak into a lot, is setting up your site online. Now, you might not necessarily be doing business online, but the thing is, a website is today's modern version of a storefront. So if you start doing business, it's really important that you get a website up. These are the 3 steps you need to do to get your website up. Number 1, go buy a domain. You could go to a website like GoDaddy, you go to Google Domains, whatever it might be. Buy a domain from there. Should cost you 10, 15 bucks for the year. The only thing you want to consider with the domain is to buy privacy. Buying privacy just means your information isn't available to the public, that you own the domain. It just is private information. Again, I know I'm saying a lot, but you could just come back to these parts of the video when you have these specific questions and walk through them. So number 1, you go to GoDaddy, buy a domain, buy privacy. Don't buy hosting, don't buy website hosting. If you're gonna build your site there, you know for sure that you're gonna do that. You've done it before, you have that experience, go for it. But don't worry about that. For the website, go build a site on Squarespace, build an easy site, get it up and running, build it on whatever platform you want. It really doesn't matter. The point is to build an initial site. Don't get complicated, don't make it hard, don't make it difficult, keep it simple. Your site should literally be 4 or 5 pages. Homepage, about, services, contact, FAQ, testimonials, things like that. If you're selling stuff on your site, it's a little bit different, but you just need a site that makes you look like this is your official storefront. Finally, once you have all that set up, you then want to set up your Google business profile. That's the thing that shows up if somebody goes to their phone and they go to Google Maps and they type in coffee near me. All those links that show up are Google business profiles. So you want to do that. If someone goes to Google on their desktop and they type in consultant near me, car wash service near me, whatever it might be, this is going to be really important for you to start growing and make yourself an official business. So if someone searches for you, they're going to find your website and they're going to find your Google business profile. Next, number 4, this is so important and so valuable, and I think it's underlooked. Get a business email. This is gonna cost you a few bucks a month, but it's so worth it. If you build your site through Squarespace, you can do it automatically through Google Workspaces. Used to be called Google G Suite, I believe that's what it was called. It's now called Google Workspaces. $6 a month, you can get your site up and running. It's super easy. And from there, the thing is, when you have a business email, you're gonna thank yourself later. Number 1, because all your business stuff can go through that email, so it doesn't get mixed up with your personal. And then if you hire people, oh, this is just totally worthwhile, because that first person you hire, you don't want to put them into your personal email that's linked to your bank accounts and linked to other personal stuff. So you want to keep those separate. Plus, the other benefit of a business email that most people overlook, I think personally, is that when you have a business email, any kind of subscription you buy, you could put it on that email. And so that way, when people on your team, if you grow, you get a VA, whatever it is, as your team grows, you can actually let people all use those resources. So shout out to like Grammarly and Loom and some other tools that we use. We basically buy them through our business email. And then that way, everyone who has access to that email has access to all those tools. So all my team members can use Grammarly and all my team members could use Loom, and we all use it under one account. Next, go to every social platform and get your social links. Now, you may not or ever use any of these social links, but it's important just to grab them for now. Go to the accounts, go to Instagram, go to Facebook, go to TikTok, whatever platform it is, go to Twitter and get the social accounts. Create accounts with them. You literally do not need to publish a thing. You do not need to put it on your phone. You don't need to use it at all. If you want to, you can. I'm just saying, if you're not planning on using it, it's still really important and valuable that you get those URLs, because then you could create your little bio in them and then link it to your website. That way, if someone is on Instagram and they search for you, or they are on Twitter and they search for you specifically, they will find you. Next, number 6, learn how to hire VAs. I have a whole process on this I absolutely love, but it's so important to learn how to hire VAs. And if you've never done this before, you've never hired anyone before, this process I'm sorry to say, it's gonna be difficult. Unless you're really good at it, which I hope you are, and I believe you totally will make it work 10 times better than I did. But when I first started out, it was a hot mess. I hired people and didn't know how to manage them, and things got transitioned weird ways. And then we like hired and let go and hired and let go. And I learned a lot, but learning how to manage someone or adding people to your team is a really important step of just being a business owner. Even if you're just doing it as a side hustle, if you have someone who handles admin stuff for you day in and day out, that's great. And you just pay them per hour, and you just pay them for maybe 5, maybe 10 hours a month, maybe 15 hours a month. That's amazing. You don't need to hire someone full time. You don't need tens of thousands of dollars coming in every single day or every single month to be able to hire someone. You got $4K coming in, let's say $1,000 a month, and you're paying someone $200 a month to help you manage that. You're still making $800. So you could use tools like Time, etc. or Zirtual, or I know there's a lot of other ones out there. My personal favorites are Time, etc. or Zirtual. Now, last thing to consider in this video, number 7, have fun. Literally, this is such an exciting journey. What you're doing and what you're taking on is so exciting and it's so thrilling. And I know it seems scary and it seems difficult or it seems like unknown and uncertain. Honestly, do your best to understand the core pieces of what you need to start. Get moving. Use this video as a guide just to consider what you need to consider. Not legal advice, but what you need to consider as you get started and go through that process. This whole thing is about having fun along the journey. So enjoy the process, have a good time, laugh a little bit, get yourself set up right, bring some money in on the side, and you are winning. With that, thank you for watching today's video. If you want more content like this, consider subscribing. And if you got value from today's video, which I'm guessing you did if you got to the end, please hit that like button. When you hit the like button, it tells me that you got value from the content. It tells the YouTube algorithm some fancy information, but it tells me you got value from the content, and I appreciate that. So with that, I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.